lives for life. 137
The
the Ebony
Ebony
Way.
Way.
One for all
All
for
for
one.
one.
People talk to people and
And
people
people
understand.
understand.
Awesome. Awesome. Our motivation, what's motivating us? What's motivating us? I would say us as in Ebony World. What's our motivation? Our motivation is just to leave this world a better place than we met it. That's our motivation. To make this world better than we met it. So by the time we are leaving it a better place than we met it. And that will come from our individual and collective contribution to the development of our society, to the development of our communities, to the development, progress of our own families, and even of our own self. After all, nations are made up of individuals. So as individuals are transformed and get better, the nation itself is transformed and get better. As the nation is transformed and get better, the world just becomes a better place for all of us. That's what our motivation is. If we don't begin to see this big picture, we are going to be engrossed and get lost in the pecuniary benefits of membership, vis-a-vis how much can I make from the system. It's no use making money from a system that the system eventually collapses. So how do we contribute to the development, progress of our people, of our society, of our nation, and the world at large? We can do this in various ways, but first by becoming an entrepreneur. Become an entrepreneur. Become an entrepreneur. Become an entrepreneur. Now, I have said become an entrepreneur. So is that the only way to contribute to the development of your society, of your community, of your nation, is that the only way? I would say that is the first way. That is the gateway. That is the first way and the gateway. It is the first way and the gateway. If you are not entrepreneurial, any occupation you get involved in, you cannot see the big picture. When you join the military, for instance, you are defending your nation, you want your nation to prosper, but if you are not an entrepreneur in the military, then all you are going to see is just bullets and guns. That's all you see. And you give marching orders, people must obey. If they don't obey, bam. And then at the end of the day, you militarize the people, you militarize the polity, and there is no democratic evolution for such a society. So whatever gains you think you give will only be temporary. Or you're not an entrepreneur and you are in the civil service. Again, you don't see the big picture. All you just want is you are there and you're just looking at yourself, how you can make the system, how you can benefit from the system, rather than how the system, civil service can become a tool for development, a tool for economic progress, a tool for political liberation, a tool for even spiritual, emancipation of the people. You don't see it. Entrepreneurship opens our eyes to begin to see possibilities as to what we can contribute in our various spheres to make our society a better place than we met it. If the main problem we are having right now is that we are having non-entrepreneurs in positions of leadership. And so they don't come to the realization that we are working in an environment that is not isolated, i.e., we are working in an environment that is related to other environments. And the first thing is to ensure the security, the progress, and the emancipation of your own environment. We have said entrepreneurship is economic urban warfare. So once you put on that hat and you go into any endeavor, then you begin to look at it from a totally different perspective from others who do not have that kind of training. So our motivation is just to make this place better. But the beauty of it is that our efforts cannot go in vain. Our efforts cannot go in vain. When we wake up in the morning, we're asking ourselves, how can this place be better? How can this thing be better? How can this one be better? How can this one be better? Even when you are building your house, you are not building your house in isolation. You are looking at it in the overall perspective. Many are building houses right now, they are blocking drainages. When you are disposing of your waste, you are looking at how it affects the total environment. If you go around now, you see drainages are blocked. And rains are here now. Very soon, now the August break is over. Very soon we are going to be experiencing massive rains as we move into September. Massive rains. And we are going to see flooding. And then we are going to see a lot of, not just blocked, and they are going to have floods. Yes, everywhere. And then you might be wondering, is government? The entrepreneur is government on its own. Government as in, it stands in the place of government. It doesn't blame government. It becomes part of the agent that government needs for success. It's easy to blame government for this, blame government for that, blame government for this, blame government for that. But as an entrepreneur, you know that you are part of the solution rather than a complainant as to the problem that have befallen the society. I was telling somebody, it is this in the same environment that Toby, the world champion now, emerged. Not in a different environment, it's the same government. Doesn't matter what government is there. Does Mike, the Glow, does he care whether it is APC in government or PDP in power?
At all, doesn't care.
It doesn't mean anything to him. He's providing service. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter whether government is bad or government is good. Glow is making his money. Does Zenith Bank care who is in government, whether it is PDP or APC? Zenith Bank, do they care?
No, they don't.
The hospital that you go for your medical treatment, do they care who is in government? When you are hungry, does your stomach care who is president and who is governor? The farmer, when he goes to farm and to plant, does it matter to him who the government is, who is not government? Are we understanding?
Yes.
Yes, that it is not about government. It's about you. It's about you. The truth is, when as an entrepreneur you get it right, it's inevitable that government will also get it right. Why? Because it is the entrepreneurial people that will put entrepreneurial people in charge of government as well. That's the truth. That is why when we say let's get people into Ebony, it is not for our own myopic benefit. It is so that all of us can become better together. It cannot be achieved in one day. We recognize that. Do we understand? So every day we get up and we are laboring, can we look at the big picture? you are into telecom business now and you are empowering people. You are empowering people so that they can also become economically viable. And when they are economically viable, that reduces stress on the entire society. A lot more people will have to give. A lot more people can think better, they can think straight. A lot more people are removed from destitution and desperation. That's what we are working at. Of course, are you going to do that on an empty stomach? Are we going to do that on an empty stomach? The answer is no, we cannot do it on an empty stomach. That again is where our reward system comes in. That the more we do it, the more benefit that becomes accrued to us. The more people that are following us, the more capital that is following us. We must begin to see it in this perspective. If we see it like that, and we must also now, having seen it like that, we must see it as an emergency. Our motivation. Emergency. It's an emergency. That is an emergency. Why emergency? Why emergency? Emergency because we have limited time as participants in this drama. Our time to participate in it is limited, at least in this body. Are you together? It's an emergency. But of course, not everybody realizes that they are in an emergency. And so what happens? Emergency will now come and take them away. Because they were not themselves, they are not putting themselves in the situation of emergency. Yes, emergency mode. Put themselves in emergency mode. So you must see it as an emergency, and it is you must almost be in desperation to do it. Why? Because you don't know when your own time will expire. Every day we wake up, time. Time. We don't know when our time will be up. We want to use time well. Yes, ma'am.
All these are what is pushing us.
Yes.
Okay.
These are motivation.
Okay.
Time. I've talked about us having 4 quarters in our lifetime. 4. The first 25 years is your first quarter. From 26 through 50, your second quarter. From 51 through 75, your third quarter. By the time you go beyond 75, final. In fact, that's not even correct. I think the last time we looked at it, we said your working life, yes, runs from 25 to 65. And that's 40 years. So they're actually 10 years. So when 25 to 35 is your first quarter. 36 to 45 is your second quarter. Then 46 to 55 is your third quarter. And then from 56 to 65 is your fourth quarter. After 65, you are overtime. And because that's why people retire. You are retired already. You are retired. This is your working life. Your working life is projected to start at the age of 25.
Is it the same thing as life expectancy?
No, life expectancy is the average time at every age at which people die in that community. That's life expectancy. Yes, this is working life. You start work at 25. By 65, you must retire. Because that's why they say earlier, whichever comes first, either you spend 35 years in service or you are at the age of 65, you must retire. Yeah.
So what about those that started working before 25?
Yes, that means that those ones will retire before 65. Let us say I started working at 20. 20 plus 35, 55. So I must retire at the age of 55.
You don't need to get to age 65.
No, I can't because it is either I cannot start for more than 35 years. That's why people cut their age because they started late. Yes, I started work late at the age of 30. Say at the age of 30. So by the time 30 plus 35, that's even good, 60 good. What about if I started work, I got to work at the age of 40. By the time I'm 65, I've done only 25 years. What about the remaining 10 years? So I'll now cut short my age and say that I was 30 when I started. So that I can stay long in service. So I can stay longer in service because if I leave, I don't know what to do with myself. That's because they are not entrepreneurial. They are not entrepreneurial. If they were entrepreneurial, in fact, you won't even wait till you are 40 before you leave. Why? Because this is your useful life. And you want to do something, you want to leave an indelible mark, while you can, yes. But because people are not entrepreneurial, they want to remain there. They do everything extra legal to remain in the system. And the longer they stay there, they prevent the younger ones from even starting early. Because they've not left. So the younger one is waiting now. Yes, now. So those ones too now, it's only they will start. Then they also now begin to cut their age.
Now what? So goes the circle.
That's a very vicious circle. Nobody wants to go. Nobody wants to go. So, time. Some of us are in our last quarter of our working life. We are already between 56 and 65. Between 56 and 65. So after 65, you are extra time or overtime. And before you know it, you're out of time. When you're out of time, you're dead. When you're out of time, you're dead. So because of time, that's why that's one of our motivation. We are working knowing that we have time limitation. We don't have endless time. We are not God. Can't live here forever. Can't live here forever. That's why there's also we put ourselves in. That's one of our motivation to make our time here count. And as we are counting our time, we also make our time count. So you are counting your time, you also make your time count. And let time work in your favor. Let every day that comes, become a milestone in your journey through life. Why should we gather like this? Many don't understand why we should gather like this. They do not understand. Because where are our leaders right now? Where are our leaders? This has always been our observation that we call this leadership meeting supposed to be on a day like this. We are lucky to find 3, 4 out of how many? We are many already. We are very many. Masada. We are many.
What is really happening? They don't want to come in, or it is their work that causes it.
Is that they don't want to be coming, or it is their work that causes it? Well, in fairness, some are busy at some things right now. Yes. In fairness, some are busy in their various businesses, in their work.